So we thought it might be valuable to take a little bit of time to give a little more information about our upcoming trainings and to address any questions, big or little, that any of you have about what we're doing. And one of the things I wanted to share is moving our courses to online has been unexpectedly wonderful. And there were several things that I discovered that I'm really valuing. One is that as a group, we're all able to give attention to whoever is speaking. And because in the in-person trainings, although we have all of the energy circulating, there can be pockets of information, of exchange that are going on that we miss and that I miss, that something is going on in the group and it just goes on by. And I'm not able to include that, loop that into what we're all discovering. But and on the online training, there's a sense of I experience that we're all here together. And I had thought that the Zoom, like being in virtual space, would be limiting. And of course, there are definitely limits to it, but we've been playing with how to expand those limits. And what I have found is that people are able to condense their learning, but also to apply it in between, because we take a little chunk of something, we explore it, have an experience with it, and then you have a week to integrate it before we take another chunk. Because we've been passionate about transformation and especially about what I call the how of consciousness for over 4 decades now, because we started working together right away. We have a huge body of work. And I'm so intent about giving it all to you that in our intensives, it's a little bit like being in the middle of a downpour and then open space. So you can have all of this coming in and then, oh my God, what am I going to do with it?
Mhm.
So what I've been learning is even more of what I call chunking of here's something I found really valuable. Here's how you can use it. And then you get to take it home or take it to use with your clients and then come back to add another bit of integration that goes with that. So that's one thing that I've really been loving. And I've also been loving how the whole group can give attention to one person and then everybody benefits from that. And so we all get to be learning together in a way that I find that's deeper and more intimate, which really surprised me because I thought on screen that it would be really kind of impersonal and, there would be a sort of a two-dimensionality. And what I found is that it's actually my experience is being able to go more deeply with people and then everybody being able to use that information for themselves, asking questions, using the chat, using the breakout rooms. And so it's like we're all on the same bus and nobody's falling out of the windows, or dragging their feet behind. We got everybody. We're carrying everybody with us. So there are other benefits that I've noticed, but one of the things that I'm really grateful for is that we can do this, that we can continue supporting each other, because especially what's coming up, our body-centered advanced training has, I think, the keys to creating lifelong vitality, lifelong connection, a lifelong renewal. And all of the breath and movement skills, those are really at the heart of what we teach in the body-centered training. And my sense is that that's invaluable for us right now because most people are living even more in their heads rather than in their whole body and using their whole body intelligence. So that's one of the courses coming up. We have our Evolutionary Playground coming up, which is also going to be a week to week, followed by our Body Centered Intensive, which is not just for coaches. It's really for anybody who wants to use body intelligence, which is really at the core of all transformation. Whether you want to use that for whatever kind of work you're doing, for your relationships, for your relationship with you. So uh, those skills that we've been teaching for over 40 years, we have manuals, we have all kinds of ways for you to learn this. But the main thing is that you get to share with other people who are in the same journey. And that community, that sense of community support, I think is also really valuable right now. And then later on, so we have well, actually, before we do any of that, Audrey Hayscamp, who's our senior trainer and a colleague for many, many years, she and I are doing a course that we call Rebooting Your Life, which is really about moving through trauma, both current trauma, but also trauma that you might have experienced early in your life that's getting echoed now from all of the disruption that's been going on for the last year or more. And that course, we've expanded a little bit so we have even more time to share with each other. So those are the courses that we've got details about those on the website, but I wanted to know, anything that you'd like to know about any of those courses so that we can give you more information. And also anything that you've been noticing, Michele, that you might want to add in that I might have missed in my little overview here. So if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. If you know how to do that electronically, you can raise your big blue hand, but you can also just do a Zoom wave and we can call on you to anything that you'd like to know about, even if it's not really clear to you, you just like more information or more detail. So I'm going to just pause for a moment here.
Yeah, and Katie, I do want to throw in one thing that I also noticed about the online classes that was really beautiful was that we created ways to connect in breakout rooms that felt really nourishing. So we have in the advanced course and Evolutionary Playground, you get a home base, like a home room. And so you'll be meeting with the same people every week for at least one of the practices that we do. So that was really, I got to participate in that as a support person, and it was really lovely. So I think that was another advantage to this, because I want to underline the having integration time. So to have the big download of whatever's happening that evening, and be able to have that space in between and then meet with your homeroom, also having the mighty networks. So we have this, so we have this way of continuing the conversation during the week, where I really loved, Katie, seeing you answering questions that were coming up, or just delighting in people's explorations and expressions on there. So this is a place, if you're not on the mighty networks, when you're in a course, you'll get a private circle. It's like a private Facebook group, but it's nice because there's no advertisement. It's our own private network. And so I wanted to add that in, that's another really beautiful benefit of doing these classes online.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that, because when we having this in between, having the mighty networks especially, something that's come up for you in between, you can get support. You can find out, wait, I didn't quite understand at the end of that activity when we did this. How does that relate to what we were talking about earlier? And then we can help weave all of that together, so that I found that it allows me to deepen my application, but also my own ability to not only understand this material, but to generate my own next steps for myself. It increases my own, what I call agency, my ability to feel my own power in my life, regardless of what's going on externally. So my resourcefulness has really expanded. And the other thing that I have found is, I thought of us, with us not being together, that we wouldn't really feel that sense of connection, of deep connection. And I've been pleasantly surprised to feel really deeply connected with the people I'm interacting with, and to see that happening in the group in a kind of intimacy, because we're in each other's homes. And it's lovely to see how everybody is arranging their own space, how everybody is occurring in their own, it's like in their own environment, but that space and time do not seem to be an obstacle. And I think part of that is that technology is much better than it used to be, but I think it is also because of the power of attention, that our ability to give and receive attention can happen over Zoom. So for those of you who are thinking, oh, it's really, I think it's not going to really be as juicy as it would be if I were there in person. And, of course, there are things that are not the same, but I really invite you to open up to the possibilities that are being offered to us now, to create more ways of connecting that don't rely on the old things that we used to do. Okay, so do we have a hand? So Eva, is that your hand up? Great, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, it's so nice to see you, and like it's nearly like in person, although it's not, of course. So I've read some of your books, especially the Conscious Loving book, and it really influenced my life actually. And I have an upper limit question that's already in my mind since quite a time actually. So it's always when I'm like in a step forward, like there's a transformation process going on, and I always get ill then, and I don't know. And it says in your book that it's normal, but you should have a break and then just try to process it. But in these situations, it's just not possible to have a break. So what am I going to do about that?
Yes, thank you for mentioning that. Well, all of us, and some of us more than others, are having requirements placed on us and things that we need to do that we can't say no to. So I'm hearing that there are more stressors. So there are two things I think could be valuable for you right now. One is to continue practicing your fear melters, and especially love scoops like we were doing this morning. Doing loops and scoops will be a regular source of nourishment for you, where you get to refill. Is so important to refill your own reservoir. And one of the things I have found personally most important is my speed, my pace, that we're all, many of us are sort of doing gerbil wheels where we're trying to go faster and faster and faster to try to keep up. And that makes everything spin out. So having a time every day where you really let yourself slow down is one of the best ways of sort of interrupting that. And also on our website, the Foundation for Conscious Living, there you'll find an activity called Essence Pace. And I really recommend it to you because it will allow you to find a way of moving through the world where you can stay in touch with you while also giving attention out in the world. And Essence Pace is one of those practices that in many of our seminars we will actually do, but you could start that right now by just looking at that video. So the upper limit problem, and I'm also getting a sense of that you don't catch the signals that you're about to get sick until they get louder.
Yeah,
and
probably
so
sometimes,
that was true for me also. So my big upper limit was either bumping into something, crashing, and I would know I'd had an upper limit because I had a bruise on me and I didn't know where it had come from.
Yeah.
And so the biggest positive shift for me has been letting my pace really match my own presence, bringing
Okay.
my pace and my presence together. And for me, that's an ongoing practice. And then noticing my body signals that were letting me know that I was getting out, usually out in front of myself. And so then coming back home again, I used to get sick all the time. And even with all what's been going on here, I haven't gotten sick in years now, primarily because I've been practicing the things that I've been suggesting to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thanks for asking. Yeah, the upper limit problem we consider to be the question. It's the
Yes.
only issue, and so you get to trade in all of your issues for that one. So thanks for asking about that.
Now,
Thanks.
actually, I'm going to pop in here because
Yeah,
we have on next, let's see, Thursday. It's
that's
this
right.
Thursday.
This
We have,
Thursday.
yeah, we have one of our leadership and transformation graduates, Becky Margiotto, who is an incredible human being. I love this woman so much. She's actually doing an introductory class on the upper limit problem. So that's going to be, it's at 6 o'clock at night. It may not be so great for you, Eva.
No,
But
not really.
it'll
Yeah.
be recorded. We
But
will
it'll be
have that
recorded,
recorded.
yeah.
So yeah. So we'll be sharing that. But just wanted to let everyone know that that's coming up on Thursday at 6 Pacific.
See, I love this. This is what happens now, is that we get connected to each other. So a question that comes up for somebody, and this happens in the seminar, a question will come up for somebody, and it always kind of pings around, and it's up for the group. If it's up for somebody, it's up for the whole group. And so we get the accelerated learning that we get to experience in community, to me, is so valuable. It's one of the reasons that I'm wanting to continue courses, even though we're limited to online now. But there are also tremendous benefits. One, you don't have to travel, and figure out how to take care of your home and your children and your pets and your business while you're gone, and then being here and all of that. So for me, that's a huge plus, that you got really all of the benefits of being at home while being in a worldwide community. I think that's extremely cool. And also one of the things I wanted to say about the courses is they're all recorded. So if for some reason you missed it, or you wanted to go back and, check what's been, what we discussed, or the application of it, the recording also will be on Mighty Network so that you can review that. So I see that we have Abby has her hand up. So you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hello.
I just love your work as
Oh,
it
thank
relates to
you.
the body. And every time I hear you speak, my body kind of opens up. So I really want to appreciate that for a minute.
Thank you.
And then, yeah, I know you mentioned this a little bit. So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about the body intelligence piece of the course.
Oh, yes. Well, the course that we're doing, and I can't remember exactly when that's starting. Michele, maybe you can pop in when I finish talking to Abby. We have condensed what we have learned about primarily the power of our own breathing and the power of our own body wisdom, which comes through both our movement style, but also what we call flags, our own personal ways of being in the world, that have little signals that we can recognize that some message is wanting our attention. Body intelligence has been neglected for over 2,000 years. We've been valuing the head and devaluing the body, and actually making the body wrong and bad for a very long time. So part of body intelligence is to value the wisdom that we carry, that comes through generations of experience that we carry in ourselves, and that we can get direct access to through the practices that we've been developing for over 4 decades. And we know that they work because we've been practicing and teaching them to thousands of people for decades. And we've seen what happens to people's lives and their relationships and their work when they're practicing these. It's the resources that you already have in your own body. So the way that you move, your movement signature can tell you everything about what's going on in your life. And what's really fun is to partner with people, to be allies with them in discovering their own inner landscape. We get a lot of information about how you can decide what to do in the outer world, but hardly anything about your inner world, which is as rich. I think it's really kind of our last frontier. We think it's out there in space, but I think it's in here in inner space that your intuition, your way of making decisions that is much more effective than like doing the pros and cons of, like my dad used to make a piece of paper and he'd have 2 columns, like the pro column, but it was all coming from here, the logic and the, why I should do this and why I should do that. But what we want to add to, it's not we want to get rid of your head, but we want to have it get information because all of the juice comes from your body. And the signals that come from your body get to your brain 4 to 10 times faster than your cognitive thoughts. So it literally, your body gets there first. And so if you don't know how to interpret and understand your feelings and interpret and understand different sensations and what those might mean, you're really not using the richness of what's available to you to have a really fulfilled life. And you can use it in business, you can use it in your relationships. It's not just like, I'm going to do body work with people. Body intelligence can inform all aspects of your life, from what you choose to eat, to who you're choosing to interact with, to decisions that you're making. So really every aspect of your life can be enhanced. And here's the other thing that was just occurring to me is that the mythology that we have about life, like life is hard, that's all made up. And what body intelligence can teach you is that you make changes, you only make changes in ways that are friendly to you. So you're not going to make any permanent changes if it's hard work. The only way that you make changes is by befriending and being with your actual experience. And so that's kind of the root of what we'll be up to. But we have a huge manual. It's like we've got plenty of what we call left brain candy for plenty of research and how all of these things work, but also the experiences that will make a difference for you, not only now, but moving forward. So it's a body of work that you can keep deepening and experiencing lifelong. Plus, there's the community. So our community has been practicing. We have a worldwide community that you then get to relate to, interact with. We've had deep friendships arise. We've had marriages. We've also had a few divorces, but we've also had marriages and businesses that people have made with each other out of the richness of community. And so for me, the ability to be with what I call other consciousness enthusiasts is also one of the great benefits of having a community that's focused on using body intelligence and relationships. So that's rather a long answer to what you were saying, but I really appreciate you asking for some more detail. All right. So anything else that anybody wants to ask about while we're all here together?
I have a question.
Yes.
Are you hoping anytime in 2021 to go back to live?
I'm not planning for that because I live in Southern California. We just got shut down again for 3 weeks. And my sense is that once we make the transition to this new administration, and that people get some sense, that there are grown-ups in charge, and that we're beginning to value the truth and agreements and reliability again, that we'll be able to start predicting, because right now we just really can't predict. So at least through the first half of 2021, I don't think we'll have any live courses. But one of the things I'm thinking about, Dale, is if we do, that I probably will do a small live group, but make it available by Zoom to other people who might want to attend from distance. So we might do a little combo. But my sense is that our structures for interacting with each other are going to be changing radically over the next several years. And so I would say no live trainings, at least through the first half of the next year.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. All right. So anything else that you can think of, Michele, that we ought to add in, or?
I was going to say, if there's anyone who wants to stay on after you complete, after all the questions are answered, if you have any more technical questions or more questions about fees and things like that, you're welcome to stay on, and I'll stay on with everyone for that. But other than that, I can't think of anything else other than to say what a profound effect this work has had on my life, and how grateful I am to you and to the whole community. And just wow.
Yeah, having playmates. Yeah, because we don't work on things, we play. And I think most of us are play challenged. And so one of the things that we can guarantee you is that you will open up your play possibilities more and more. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and take off and appreciate you all, and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye now.